24 hours after ballots were cast, tonight control of Congress is still up for grabs. President Biden insisting it was a good night for Democrats.
While the press and the pundits are predicting a giant red wave, it didn't happen.
Republicans who had been hoping to take the House in a red wave, now just looking for a win. The GOP still favored to take over, but with a smaller margin than expected.
We will be in the majority, and Nancy Pelosi will be in the minority.
Much more suspense in the Senate, where Republicans still could gain the one seat they need to take control. But Democrats could hang on too, with NBC News projecting races that are too early to call in Nevada and in Arizona. And in Georgia, the showdown between Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker. NBC News now projects will go to a runoff.
We always knew that this race would be close.
I'm like Ricky Bobby. I don't come to lose.
Democrats' biggest win of the night coming in the critical Pennsylvania Senate race. Democrat John Fetterman, 6 months after suffering a stroke, defeating Republican Dr. Mehmet Oz.
We did what we needed to do.
Republicans with big victories, too, including Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, easily defeating Democrat Stacey Abrams. And in the biggest win of the night, Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis winning re-election in a 19-point landslide, sweeping virtually every county in the state, including heavily Latino Miami-Dade.
We reject woke ideology. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
DeSantis seen as a possible 2024 presidential contender where he could face former President Trump, who had a tough night. His endorsed candidates in Ohio and North Carolina won, but several of Mr. Trump's other handpicked candidates in key races, including New Hampshire, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, all lost. Meanwhile, President Biden was asked what he will do differently, with most Americans saying they're dissatisfied with the state of the country.
Nothing, because they're just finding out what we're doing. The more they know about what we're doing, the more support there is.
And we pressed him about running again.
2/3 of Americans in exit polls say that they don't think you should run for re-election. What is your message to them, and how does that factor into your final decision about whether or not to run for re-election?
It doesn't.
What's your message to them? To those 2/3 of Americans?
Watch me.
Kristen, the president is likely facing divided government. Did he talk about working with Republicans, how that would go?
Well, Esther, he did. The president says he'll call top House Republican Kevin McCarthy tonight and says he's hoping for bipartisanship on issues like Ukraine. The president also saying he'll make his decision on running early next year.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.